right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Ask Dave. We're excited to ask our CEO and technical guru about the trends in technology. And today, Dave, the question is, how is machine learning affecting the future of how businesses operate?
I recently learned a little bit about machine learning, robotic process automation, and artificial intelligence, which are all related at a course of study I took at MIT. And I think one of the most fascinating components of artificial intelligence, at least for me at this time, is actually machine learning, where we're teaching computers how to interpret the amount of information and the repetitive processes and the knowledge that they need to help make that artificial intelligence more intelligent, which is kind of interesting. But if you think about the concept of how, your kids will learn to speak without you actually teaching them language. You start by teaching them different words, and many of us will remember teaching them not to say no to everything, even though they hear you say no to everything. And it's an interesting concept, because a machine that you actually program and set up to be listening for pieces of information, or be trained on the repetitive nature so that it gets basically a baseline, and it can detect things like anomalies and suggest different things to maybe correct. Machines are constantly now learning about the different things that we use technology for. In essence, we are making the machines smarter so that they can be more effective in our quest to leverage artificial intelligence to help us do more with less. That's really the principle. So when you I think one of the best and most relatable examples of machine learning is traffic, right? If we know that every single, you'll notice that around different traffic and intersections, right? There'll be pads that are in the concrete or in the asphalt. There'll be cameras, and the timing of how those lights go based upon traffic flow. Well, machine learning, you don't need machine learning to know that in the morning and around 5 to 6 o'clock, those are the busiest times for an intersection, depending on people's ebb and flow to traffic and work, right? But just look at COVID-19. COVID-19 has seen a real big decrease in the amount of traffic at intersections as more people work from home. And in places in cities where they had machine learning and artificial intelligence applied to those intersections, the timing of the traffic lights actually adjusted to the flow of traffic automatically. In places out here where I live, kind of off the grid a little bit out of the city, traffic lights not so smart. You can sit there for 30 seconds longer than you really would expect to, and there's no traffic anywhere before the light's even going to turn, because it was relying on an old algorithm and an old process. So you'll see things, machine learning, like social media. That's another one most people can relate to. If you start liking pictures of cats, it's going to start suggesting that you look at more pictures of cats. If you like looking at cars, it's going to suggest more things about cars, and that's the advertising it's going to get. So basically, that's an example of a machine learning more about your preferences and setting that into practice inside the technology as it suggests you stuff in social media. So there's, when you look at it from a business perspective, when we see that I'm constantly paying a vendor the same amount every single month, and that's just in the finance systems that we implement, it'll make a suggestion to you. We see you've paid this vendor automatically the same payment 3 months in a row. Would you like to set this up as an auto payment and have it automatically deducted from the bank so that you don't have to process any receipts or payments? Your bank will do that to you. You have phone apps that'll do that for you, and that's just a small piece of business. But some of the other manual things that we do inside business as well, into manufacturing, supply chain automation, human resources, all those different components, as we try to become more efficient, machine learning will start to take on a bigger role. And I think the last component, and this one was kind of fun as well, that we did a little work with in class, was specifically to language processing, natural language processing, or NLP. You have to train the machine on how to recognize language, but at the same time, you're also telling it and teaching it how to speak it back to you. So you know when you get a new phone or your new computer, whether it's Microsoft or Apple or Google, it'll ask you to read several sentences into the computer, right? So you think about how the computer is getting smarter and smarter, and it's supposed to interpret. It's also learning how to speak back to you. So as that has evolved, you'll see that impact on business start to evolve as well, more and more frequently.
Great. Well, thanks for the interview, Dave. And thank you all for another edition of Ask Dave. Be looking out for more coming out every week. Thank you all and have a great week.
Take care.
Ask Dave. Got a technology question you need an answer for? Send us an email at connect@arcticit.com and your question might be featured on the next edition of Ask Dave.